Good morning, guys. Welcome to day 4 of Unit 4, Week 7. We are going to be working on a couple of things today. I know during your writing, you're going to start on your rough draft. But for our Read Aloud lesson, I want to read you a book called Zoo Workers by Richard Alexander. And while you are listening, think about these questions. What is the author's opinion on the topic? What is the purpose of the writing? Where does the author use a technical vocabulary word? What does the word mean? Does it improve his writing? Why or why not? We're going to answer these questions in just a minute, okay? So here is the book called Zoo Workers. Imagine having a job that lets you work with animals all day. You would feed them, clean their habitats, train them, and even play with them. Does that sound like fun? If it does, then you might want to be a zoo worker when you grow up. Zoo workers can have many different jobs. Some of them work with animals and some don't. Zoo workers who provide everyday care for zoo animals are called keepers. A career as a keeper isn't always easy, but it's rewarding to care for the beautiful animals that live in the zoo. Doing the dirty work. Zoo workers, especially keepers, can't be afraid to get their hands dirty. It's a keeper's job to clean the habitats of the wild animals that live in zoos. This means doing the dirty work around zoos, such as cleaning up animal waste. It can be a smelly job, but someone has to do it. Keepers also feed zoo animals. Keepers must know which foods each animal needs to eat. Animals don't all eat the same thing. For some animals, this means giving them bales of hay or bunches of fruit and vegetables. For others, this means feeding them raw meat. This zoo worker keeps the zoo animals healthy by keeping their habitats and the animals themselves clean and giving them the right amount of food to eat. So she's over here helping keep the elephant clean. New experiences. Another important part of a keeper's job is providing zoo animals with different kinds of enrichment. Wild animals have endless opportunities to discover new things. Zoo animals, however, have more limited opportunities for learning and playing. Enrichment is a way for keepers to give zoo animals new things to see, experience, and play with. For example, keepers can put new objects into the zoo animals' habitats. These include balls, boxes, and branches. Keepers are always looking for new ways to help zoo animals learn and explore the world around them. They study the animals to plan the right enrichment opportunities for them. And this one says enrichment makes life more exciting and fun for zoo animals, and it can also do the same for keepers. Helpful training. Keepers also train zoo animals. When people think of training animals, they often think of teaching animals tricks for fun. What keepers do with zoo animals, though, is more important than just showing off what animals can learn. Keepers train animals in order to allow the zoo's veterinarians to examine these animals in a way that's safe and comfortable. Keepers train animals to stand on a scale to be weighed. They also train animals to show different body parts without a person touching them. This makes it easier for the veterinarians to give an animal the care it needs to stay healthy. This says keepers and veterinarians work together to keep zoo animals healthy. Keepers often work under the supervision of veterinarians to give animals medicine and to measure an animal's height and weight as shown here. Special skills and qualities. Because zookeepers and other zoo workers, such as veterinarians, spend so much time around animals, they need to have a special set of skills and qualities to do their job well. Most importantly, they must be good with animals and like being around them. They must also be patient and open-minded because animals can take a long time to train. Zoo workers also spend a lot of their time talking to people. They often teach people about the animals they work with. For this reason, zoo workers should have strong public speaking skills. There's a picture of a keeper feeding a baby animal. Strong and safe. Keepers need to have a certain kind of personality in order to be successful. They also need to be strong. They often have to lift heavy things to feed zoo animals or clean their habitats. They must be able to work outside in any kind of weather, from summer heat to winter snow. Keepers don't get to take rainy days off. Safety is very important for all zoo workers and the animals they care for. Even though zoo animals might look cute and friendly, many of them could be deadly if approached by someone without proper training. It says keepers often work long hours, but their love of animals help them enjoy the hard work they're doing. Studying science. Keepers need to learn as much as they can about animals before they start working with them. If you want to be a keeper someday, you'll need to take as many science classes as possible. It's also helpful to have good math skills. Many of the notes taken by keepers are numbers, such as animals' weight and the amount of food they eat. Getting a 4-year college degree is important if you want to be a keeper. Keepers generally study science in college. Common branches of science they study include biology, which is the study of living things, and animal behavior. You can learn more about what it takes to become a zoo worker by talking to one. The next time you go to a zoo, ask one of the keepers about how they got their job and what a day at work is like for them. Hands-on experience. Taking the right science and math classes is only part of what you'll need to do if you want to become a zoo worker. The other part is working with animals. An internship at a zoo during college is a great step towards a career as a zoo worker. There are also things you can do long before college to gain experience working with animals. Volunteering at a zoo, aquarium, or local animal shelter is a great place to start. If you live on a farm that raises animals, you already have a valuable animal experience. And there it says, volunteering at a zoo or animal shelter does much more than providing experience for a future career. It allows you to make a difference in the lives of animals that need our help. Other zoo workers. Most people think of a career as a keeper when they imagine working at a zoo. However, many other jobs are open to people who want to work at a zoo but don't want to be a keeper. If you want a career that combines medicine and zoo animals, then you might be interested in a career as a veterinarian at a zoo. If you like working with people and animals, you might make a good volunteer coordinator. This person is in charge of all the volunteers at the zoo. And here's a list of some of the jobs at the zoo. Worth the hard work. Zoo workers have chosen a career that allows them to spend time around some of the most amazing wild animals on Earth, from powerful lions to cute penguins. However, their job isn't all fun and games. They work very hard to make sure these animals are fed, are healthy, and have a clean place to live. The next time you visit a zoo, pay attention to the people working alongside the animals. If you work and study hard enough, you could find yourself in this wild career field one day, caring for some of our planet's coolest animals. All right, so let's go back, and we needed to think about what the author's opinion on the topic was. So let's go ahead and answer that. So I feel like the author's opinion is zoo workers have very hard jobs, but it is very rewarding. So I feel like he is telling us about how hard it is to be a zoo worker, but it's also a very rewarding job because you're making a difference, right, in the life of those animals. So what is the purpose of the writing? To me, it sounds like the purpose of the writing is to maybe persuade some of you to become a zoo worker. And he also listed more than just being a zoo worker or a keeper. He talked about the volunteers, veterinarian, all these different things. 3, where does the author use a technical vocabulary word? What does this word mean? So if I go back in here, I want to look back. Here's a glossary right here, which gives us a lot of the technical vocabulary, right? Because that's kind of what a glossary is for. It's giving us a definition of what a maybe a word means because we might not hear it a lot. And one I remember is habitat, because it talked about how these zoo workers had to clean out the habitat. So if I go back and I look for this word habitat, I think I saw it at the beginning, we can also read it and figure out what it means based off the sentence. So those are kind of using our context clues. All right, so that talks about enrichment right there, doing the dirty work. A wild job. So imagine having a job that lets you work with animals all day. You would feed them, clean their habitats, train them, and even play with them. So if I read that sentence, it lets me know that it's probably where they sleep, where they live, right? Because it says that I would need to clean their habitat, kind of like their room. You clean your room, clean their habitat. So that's their spot where they live. So that's my example would be habitat. And I thought it meant where they live, where the animals live. All right, and then the last one right here, does it improve this writing? Why or why not? I think it does improve it. It does improve the writing because it teaches us what all a zoo worker has to do at the zoo. So it kind of gives us a little bit of information. So if you were interested in becoming a zoo worker, this book would be really good because it's teaching you more specific stuff about what it takes to be a zoo worker. All right, guys, today during your read aloud time, I hope you can find some great examples of some technical language.